If a son will bring peace to my home,
Miriam.
will you marry
People
my
knew
husband?
her as a woman who never sat down. Before sunrise she was already awake, sweeping the yard, preparing food, checking school uniforms, and planning how to stretch money that never seemed enough. She built her home with her hands. She supported her husband Daniel when his business failed. She carried burdens quietly, believing that loyalty and hard work would keep her family standing. But in the eyes of Daniel's family, one thing overshadowed everything she did. She had daughters, no son. And in their world, that absence felt louder than love itself. At family gatherings, laughter always carried a hidden sting. "A house without a boy is a house without a future," one uncle would say. Daniel began to change slowly. He didn't stop loving Miriam, but the pressure from relatives followed him everywhere. Conversations turned into arguments. Arguments turned into shouting. Some nights, the tension in the house felt heavier than the walls. Miriam watched her children grow quiet, afraid of the noise between their parents. She told herself, peace is more important than pride. And that thought led her to a decision that would change everything. One evening, after another painful fight, Miriam sat alone under the dim kitchen light. She prayed, not for herself, but for her home. The next day she shocked everyone. She told Daniel, "If a son will bring you peace, then let us find a woman who can give you that." Daniel stared at her, unable to speak. She wasn't weak. She wasn't defeated. She was tired of watching her children live inside constant conflict. And so, Miriam did what few women would ever imagine. She helped arrange her husband's second marriage. She met the young woman, Naomi, spoke kindly to her, and welcomed her into the family with dignity, even while her own heart quietly bled. At first, everyone believed the house would become calm. Relatives praised Miriam for being wise. Daniel seemed hopeful again. But peace never arrived. Instead, the house filled with new tension, jealousy, expectations, and unspoken pain. Miriam worked harder than ever, trying to hold everything together while protecting her daughters from the emotional storms around them. She prayed every night, sometimes with tears, sometimes with silence. Then the news came. Naomi was pregnant. The family rejoiced loudly, already calling the unborn child, the boy who will restore the name. When the baby arrived, a son, celebrations shook the yard. Drums, ululations, laughter. Daniel finally held the child he had long desired. But Miriam watched quietly from a distance, her heart carrying emotions too deep for words, relief, sadness, and a strange emptiness. She believed the storm was finally over. She was wrong. Motherhood did not bring Naomi the happiness she expected. The weight of expectations, the realities of the household, and personal disappointments slowly pushed her away. One morning before sunrise, Naomi left. No long speech, no goodbye, only a small bag, and a sleeping baby left behind. The celebration ended overnight. The house fell into silence. Daniel sat broken, holding his son, unsure of what to do. And once again, it was Miriam who stepped forward. She carried the baby, fed him, loved him as if he had always been hers. Not because life was fair, but because her heart refused to let an innocent child suffer for adult decisions. Watching Miriam raise all the children with the same love began to change Daniel. For the first time, he saw her not as the woman who failed to give him a son, but as the pillar who never abandoned him, even when he had lost himself. One evening he said quietly, "I chased a blessing, and almost destroyed the one God already gave me." Miriam didn't answer immediately. She had learned that some lessons must grow slowly inside a person's spirit. Daniel began attending church again, not to impress people, but because he felt empty inside. He saw how Miriam's faith had carried the family when everything else failed. Step by step, his heart softened. One Sunday, during a simple service, he walked to the altar and surrendered his life to Christ. No noise, no drama, just a man realizing that real peace does not come from having a son, but from finding purpose. Time passed. Daniel became known not for wealth or status, but for humility and service. The same man who once chased cultural expectations became a voice encouraging other men to honor their families and seek God before tradition. People who knew their story often asked Maryam, "How did you survive all of that?" She would smile gently and say, "I stopped fighting for control and started fighting for peace." A child's gender is not a measure of a woman's worth. Decisions made out of pressure can create deeper wounds than the problem itself. Sometimes the strongest person in a family is the one who chooses peace when everyone else chooses pride. And true transformation begins when the heart turns back to God, not when circumstances finally look perfect.